Hey everybody, it's Dave. I want to take a few minutes to talk about who we are, what we do as Team Beachbody coaches, and talk about why that's a little bit challenging right now, or at least one reason why I think it's a little bit challenging right now. When I say right now, today is Wednesday, September 21st, 2016. So I'm not sure when you're going to see this, but this is when I'm filming it, and so I'm kind of talking about some things that are going on right now. And it's interesting to me, every year before Halloween, I film the same video, or at least every year for the last 4 or 5 years, I film the same video, and I film a video for my team of coaches, and what I basically tell them is you should expect things to slow down a little bit between Halloween and Thanksgiving. I have found historically, and I've been doing this since 2008, that between Halloween and Thanksgiving is the slowest time of the entire year. Now, I used to struggle with that, and I didn't understand it, and then I started to study it, and I started to think about it a little bit. And what I figured out is that it's really simple. The collective consciousness of our society focuses on eating food and ignores being healthy. Maybe building a business too. The collective consciousness of our society shifts. And that's a really natural thing. And I think most of us have come to terms with that, and we understand it. Because we understand, wow, that does happen. During the summertime, yeah, it kind of shifts in that direction too, right? People are out with their families having fun. They're on vacation, taking a road trip, going to the river, going to the beach, whatever it is, fun in the sun, drinking beers, eating hot dogs at a barbecue, right? And then when we get back to school, the consciousness shifts back towards us. Everybody's back in their routine. They look in the mirror and they go, man, a few too many hot dogs and too many beers. I need to lose some weight. And we become that solution, who we are and what we do as coaches, helping people achieve their goals and live healthy and more fulfilling lives, right? All of that narrative fits right in. And then in Halloween, it shifts back. And we also understand that in January, it's going to come back again. And that the narrative in January is going to really be beneficial to us, right? It's all about recommitting to your goals. So if you maybe put down that fitness program, and that's a time when people are real likely to pick it up. Maybe you're going to pick up a new one. Maybe you're involved as a coach already and your business has kind of lapsed and suffered a little bit because you were too busy eating candy. And those are the times when people refocus, and we tend to be busy. And there's a whole bunch of these things that happen throughout the year that are really beyond our control. And all you can really do as a coach is understand them. You can plan for them a little bit. Mostly I plan for them by taking a little bit of time off to recharge my batteries during those times. Like a lot of times I'll do the ultimate reset in between that Halloween and Thanksgiving time. So I don't fall victim to that whole thing. And then I'm ready to go in January, right? So all you can really do is understand them, plan for them a little bit, and then, to capitalize, right? Like I'm ready in January so that I know in January I'm ready to hit the ground running, because that's when the focus is going to shift back in the direction of who we are and what we do. Okay, but we don't drive that focus. We're a part of it, It's the collective consciousness. It's what's on the news. It's what people see on TV. It's who Dr. Oz is interviewing that week, or whatever else is going on that drives that whole narrative. And if you're paying attention, you watch this thing shift back and forth. Why am I telling you this? Well, some of you guys who know me really, really well know that I am an amateur historian. I have a deep, deep love for history. That's what I majored in college. In 2008, when the economy collapsed and I shifted from practicing law to becoming a Team Beachbody coach, I was actually had one foot out the door at my law firm. I was pretty much done with doing that, and what I was considering doing was becoming a professor. I was either going to go teach like U.S. government in a high school or maybe college, or go and become a law school professor and teach constitutional law, because I love history, but in particular I love 20th century American politics. So I study these things, and I love history because history gives us context. In 10 years, in 2026, we'll have a real good idea of all of the crazy things that were going on in 2016. And there'll be a lot of books about them, and I'll probably read a lot of those books because I do that sort of thing. I tell you this because I really am struggling to think of a time since the Civil War where our country was not just as divided as we are right now, but also as afraid, okay? Close second, I think, is going to be the late 60s, early 70s, Nixon was elected in '68, said he was going to get us out of Vietnam, ended up escalating that war. One of the things that happened as a result of that on April 30th of 1970, Nixon announced that we were invading Cambodia. So he's escalating the war even further. We're invading Cambodia. Okay. A few days later, on Monday, May 4th of 1970, the Ohio National Guard opened fire on a group of students protesting at Kent State University and killed 4 of them. Now, I want you to think about what it would have been like on May 5th, forget the fact that it's Cinco de Mayo, to try and sell somebody a challenge pack. Or get somebody to start a business. When the collective consciousness of our society was focused on this incredible, all of this stuff that was going on. Can we really trust our government? Aren't they supposed to protect us? Why are they shooting us? Think about now what's happening in our society right now. We have this issue with the police, okay? And I'm not here to debate the issue with the police, but you can't deny that there's an issue and that the collective consciousness is driving this narrative about can you trust the police department, in particular, if you're black or other minorities who have some legitimate concerns about these things. I'm not here to debate that. I'm here to focus you on what this narrative does. That divides us, okay? That divides us. Because you're on one side or the other of this if you have an opinion on it. Then what? Well, we have domestic terrorism. Now, interestingly, in the 1970s, we also had domestic terrorism. There were groups like the Weather Underground who were doing a lot of bombings. Not a lot of people know that. It's kind of the last time we actually had a lot of frequent domestic terrorism like we have right now. Just the other day, they caught a guy in New York who had like 8 bombs. What does that do? Well, it doesn't really divide us. It does make us scared. Think about what people do when they're scared. They don't take risks. They're not focused on, oh, well, I should get this shake and feel really good about my health. No, you know what they do? They go buy guns. Since the Orlando attacks earlier this year, gun sales are up 40%. I read an article on Forbes.com just the other day about this. 40% increase in gun sales. Why? Because people are scared. They're scared and they're divided. Now, let's add on top of that something that is cyclical and seasonal as well, but thankfully only happens every 4 years, which is we have an election right now. And we have an election between 2 people that nobody really likes. I'm sure if you like one of them, I apologize, but not very many people like either of these candidates. And so what we're doing is we're picking the least worst one. And that is the single loudest voice. And what are these 2 doing? Well, they're both telling you how bad the other one is and how they're going to fix these other problems and the other one can't do anything about it. And we're blaming everybody. And the narrative right now has nothing to do with who we are and what we do as Beachbody coaches. What we do is we build people up. We start with ourselves. We build ourselves up. We help ourselves first. And then we show people how to do the same thing. We build them up and we celebrate them. That's not what's going on in society right now. What's going on in society is fear and division. That's a challenging environment for our business. I'm not saying you can't be successful in this business right now, because I've talked to a lot of leaders and there are people who are doing really well right now. Okay? So there is opportunity out there. But I am telling you, we're in one of these moments that's a lot like the shift we see between Halloween and Thanksgiving, where the collective consciousness has just gone away from us. When is that going to end? I don't really know. I don't really know. I think the election in early November will help. That will definitely help to end that whole thing. And that should stop some of the divisiveness. Is it going to get better before then? I don't know. Is it going to get better after then? I really hope so. I really hope that whoever becomes president is able to unite this country and take us in a direction where we can resolve some of these issues and we can start to feel safe again. But what I'm telling you right now is most people don't. And when you're afraid, you don't take risks. And when you're afraid, you're not going to spend money. And when you're afraid, you're not going to care about yourself. People are sitting there watching the news with this narrative that's driving them in a direction that isn't towards us, and there's not a whole hell of a lot we can do about it, okay? So I'm filming this video just so you understand the context of it. I want you to just back up and pay attention. Humans are the most interesting people to me. I don't want this video to go much longer, but humans are the most interesting people to me. That's one of the things I absolutely love about this business is I get to study human behavior. It starts with me and my behavior, and because that's the only thing I can really control. But then I experience a lot of different human behavior. I interact with people on my team. I interact with my customers. I interact with other leaders in our business, and I see what people do. And everybody, including me, does one thing across the board. Everybody does it, which is we have this deep need to understand why things are happening. And when we can't explain it, we search for solutions. And we often make up stories about what's going on. And there's a lot of stories that are being made up, okay? And what I'm here to tell you is, and I'm doing the same thing, right? Like I'm coming up with a reason why I think this is happening. It's interesting to me though, when I started to talk to people about this, a lot of people started nodding their head. And that's why I filmed this video, because I did this the other day for my leaders. And a lot of them said, wow, I hadn't thought about that. Think about it. Slow down. Think about what's going on in our country right now. And are you just getting sucked into all this stuff? You may well be. Let me give you a couple ideas of what you can maybe do in order to at least not feed into all that stuff. The biggest thing is to understand that there's really only one thing that you have complete control over. There's only one thing in my life that I have just absolute control over with any degree of predictability or effectiveness, and that is my mind. And it's how I think. And what you can do right now that will really benefit you, because the pendulum's going to swing back, guys, is to sharpen your mind right now. You cannot let your mind be caught up in all that. Now listen, if one of these issues or some of this stuff is really, really important to you and you feel compelled to be involved and be vocal and have your voice heard, that's fantastic. That's your choice. Just understand that it's the same choice as I love pizza, right? I mean, I like pizza. I like pizza a lot. And I understand that if I choose to eat pizza, I'm going to gain weight. It's the same thing. If you're going to be involved in debates and narratives that are divisive, you can expect half the people to not like you. And you just eliminate half your customers. And again, if it's important to you, more power to you. You know, I'm all for passion. I'm all for people expressing themselves. But understand there's an impact. And this is the impact. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. If building your Beachbody business is more important to you than that narrative, this is my suggestion for you. Take control over your mind. Great time to do some personal development. Okay, great time to dive back in with a good book. I'll tell you a couple things I'm doing right now. The first one is I'm listening to a podcast series from Sai Seminars. A lot of you guys know Sai Seminars is really what sort of cracked the egg for me and kicked everything off. I went to the Sai Basic Seminar, and that's where I walked out of there and was like, that was in August. So I guess it was about a month before the economy went down, and I just walked out of there. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot practice law anymore. I will make a lot of money, but I will be miserable in my life. And that's where I made that decision that I had to go do something else. And it's always been kind of, and I've done a lot of their other seminars as well, and it's always been kind of a campfire for me. You know, a lot of voices that I recognize. I was listening to Todd Campbell the other day, and I was like, oh, I remember that voice, you know? And so I'm listening to the Sai Seminars podcast. I'll put a link in the description to that. I also have re-engaged with a meditation that I was doing for a while from a company called Headspace. Which is headspace.com. They have an awesome free, it's called Take 10, and it's 10 10-minute meditations. I have tried to meditate in the past. One of the things that didn't really resonate with me was it was like Deepak Chopra, and we were chanting, I don't remember the language, but we're chanting. I don't really connect with that. That's not what this is. This is just like a lot of calmness. And one of the things I really like about it is from a meditation perspective, it makes it okay for your mind to wander. I got a really busy mind, and my mind wanders around. After the Take 10, there's 2 other foundational bits that you go through. And then you can dive in, and the meditations are divided up into all these different areas of your life. You know, personal relationships, professional relationships, stress, sleep. The sleep one has helped me incredibly because I have, again, that busy mind that I have trouble sleeping, and the sleep meditations have really, really helped me. All of that is designed to just do one thing. It's insulate my mind from this narrative that's going on that is pushing people away from something that I love, Team Beachbody, and something that I know is good for people. I just know it. Because it's been great for me, and it's been great for a lot of other people. I have more tangible proof about that than I do any of that other crap. Okay? Insulating my mind. And then talk to your people. Okay? If this is connecting with you and this is resonating with you and you're going, wow, yeah, maybe that's exactly what is going on. Talk to your people about it. Talk to your friends about it. Just promote some positivity. Okay? Today is International Peace Day. So Facebook has celebrated, if you click on the love button, you get this exploding heart thing, which is really cool. Not enough people are doing that. Not enough people are lifting each other up. Not enough people are loving each other. It's a time in history where I've really not seen a time in history where Americans hate Americans more than they do right now. All that can change. But it's got to start with us, because that's the only thing you control. Insulate your mind, promote positivity, and be patient, because all that narrative most of that narrative anyway, will go away. Some of it's going to continue, and I believe we are in for a little bit of a rough patch, just as a society, forget as a company. But you should understand how that shift affects us as a society, right? If you're in the gun manufacturing business, for example, your sales are up 40%, you're kicking ass right now. If you're in the health and fitness and promoting people being better industry, you're probably not, and we're not. So those are some thoughts about, a little bit deeper understanding of what's going on around us in the bigger picture of the world. Hope you found that helpful. If you do, please share this with your teams and anybody else who might be interested and who might be struggling right now. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.